Why your cat watches you sleep in the dark. There is something quietly unsettling about waking at 3 in the morning to find two luminous eyes fixed upon you from the darkness, unblinking, patient, and utterly still. For cat owners, this is not an unusual experience. Cats are notorious for their nocturnal vigils, and the sight of a feline sentinel perched at the foot of the bed, watching its sleeping human with an almost unnerving intensity, has inspired everything from superstitious folklore to viral internet humor. But behind this strange behavior lies a rich tapestry of instinct, biology, emotion, and evolutionary history. To understand why your cat watches you sleep in the dark is to peer into the ancient, complex mind of one of nature's most refined predators, one that has chosen, against all odds, to share its life with you. The predator's eye. The first and most fundamental explanation is rooted in biology. Cats are crepuscular and nocturnal hunters, meaning they are biologically wired to be most active during the twilight hours and throughout the night. Their eyes are extraordinary instruments of the dark. A reflective layer behind the retina, called the tapetum lucidum, amplifies available light, giving them vision approximately 6 times more sensitive than that of humans in low-light conditions. What appears to us as a pitch-black room is, to a cat, a softly illuminated landscape of shapes and shadows. When your cat sits in the darkness and watches you, it is operating comfortably within its natural sensory range. The darkness is not mysterious to the cat. It is simply home. This nocturnal wakefulness also means that while you are surrendering 8 hours of consciousness to sleep, your cat is entering one of its peak periods of alertness. It is not simply that the cat chooses to watch you. It is that you happen to be the most interesting, and in many ways, the most important subject in its environment during the hours when it is most cognitively engaged. Instinct, territory, and protection cats are simultaneously predators and, in the wild, potential prey. This dual role has produced an animal with a finely tuned vigilance, a constant, low-level awareness of its surroundings that never entirely switches off. In the domestic setting, this instinct does not disappear. It simply redirects. Your home becomes your cat's territory, and you, the sleeping, vulnerable, entirely defenseless human, become part of that territory to be monitored, and in the cat's understanding, protected. This may sound counterintuitive given the popular image of the aloof, indifferent cat, but research into feline behavior increasingly supports the idea that cats form genuine attachments to their human companions. A 2019 study published in Current Biology by researchers at Oregon State University found that cats display attachment behaviors toward their owners that closely mirror the attachment patterns observed in dogs and human infants. A significant portion of cats studied showed what researchers classified as secure attachment, meaning they used their owner as a safe base and showed distress upon separation. Watching you sleep, then, may be the cat's version of keeping watch, an expression of the bond it has formed, translated through the lens of an animal that communicates not primarily through sound or gesture, but through presence. Routine, warmth, and the logic of proximity. There is also a simpler, more pragmatic dimension to this behavior. Cats are creatures of extraordinary routine. They map out the rhythms of their household with meticulous attention, and they know, often better than the humans themselves, exactly when meals will be served, when doors will be opened, and when their owner will begin to stir. Watching you sleep is partly a form of scheduling. The cat is monitoring the duration of your unconsciousness so that it can anticipate the moment of waking, which in its mind is closely associated with food, play, and interaction. Beyond routine, there is the matter of warmth. Cats are drawn to sources of heat with an almost gravitational pull, and a sleeping human body radiates a steady, reliable warmth that is deeply appealing to an animal whose preferred ambient temperature is significantly higher than a human's. Watching from close proximity is often the prelude to curling up directly on or beside you. The vigil and the cuddle are two phases of the same impulse. Trust as the deepest explanation. Perhaps the most moving interpretation of this behavior, however, is the one that speaks to the nature of the human-cat relationship itself. Cats in the wild are solitary and guarded. They do not expose themselves to vulnerability lightly. Sleep, for any animal, is a state of profound vulnerability. The senses are dulled, the muscles are relaxed, the defenses are down. That your cat chooses to spend the quiet hours of the night in your presence, watching over you as you sleep, is in its own way a declaration. It has decided that you are safe. It has decided that this place, with you in it, is where it wants to be. The unblinking stare that so unnerves us is, in feline body language, not a sign of hostility or calculation. Slow blinks are a known signal of feline trust and affection. A deliberate softening of the gaze that cats use to communicate non-aggression. The act of simply sitting with you in the dark, calm and unhurried, is consistent with this same emotional register. Your cat is not plotting. It is not disturbed or alarmed. It is, in its own wordless way, keeping you company. Conclusion. So the next time you wake to find those two luminous eyes watching you from the shadows, resist the urge to feel unsettled. What you are witnessing is a convergence of ancient instinct and modern affection. A nocturnal predator, perfectly at home in the dark, choosing of its own accord to spend its waking hours beside you. It is biology and loyalty, routine and warmth, all expressed in the quiet, unwavering language of a cat's gaze. In its own strange, feline way, it is one of the most sincere things your cat will ever do.